morning, ladies and gentlemen. No ladies and gentlemen, I see. And welcome to the launch of this programme today. When I was asked, or given the sticky end of the stick by Jonathan and Mark earlier last week, the first thing I thought, well, I've got to look at mental health. I discovered that it is in disarray. There were so many potential things to look at, problems that people suffer, that I don't think the word mental health leads to anything because it's all encompassing. I further discovered that it is in a place, not a very good place at this present time. And fortunately, on Wednesday evening, on Newsnight, the Minister for Westminster Government had to say that the system was broken. I thought it was quite frightening that he should say that on television, but other speakers there said things like children had been turned away from treatment, parents trying to get treatment for their children were failing, the system wasn't built to cope with the amount of people experiencing difficulties in their lives, generally starting in their teens, sometimes even before, and that nobody, it appears, had an answer. I was amazed to hear that I think the Minister had allocated £7 million to create 50 beds somewhere. He didn't say where, but possibly in England, probably. And I was wondering, well, 50 beds, yes, great. Does that scratch the surface? I don't think so. The only good news, well, coming out of the report on Newsnight was that the fact that in Wales there were other things happening. For example, many of the schools, it appears, have mental health counsellors to deal with issues in schools. I wasn't aware of that, and I'm not aware of it in our area, but if they say it, it must be true somewhere in Wales.
Okay, volunteering to do a whole range of activities, just simply from having a conversation with a friend, a colleague or a family member, or being trained and mentored by the team, by the Time to Change Work team, to go into workplaces and schools to deliver talks and share their experiences, and it's having a huge, huge impact. So it's creating that lasting social movement change, galvanising people on the ground. So when we're not here, and we won't be here forever, we'll be here for the next 3 years, that those people become champions for life, that they embrace it and move forward. And also, people with lived experience, such as Jonathan and Mark, are leading community projects all across Wales. Our marketing, you may have seen some of our marketing on billboards, some of our advertising on radio, we're everywhere. And the target audience at the moment is 25 to 45-year-olds because our research shows that they are active stigmatisers. That's the key audience. And like I said, we've done TV, radio, we also do social media. You might have liked us on Facebook if you haven't already done so, please do so. Blogs, and people with lived experience are at the heart of the campaign. I don't know if you've seen this advert, in case it's still on. This was directly targeted, to encourage you at trying to challenge stigma in the workplace. This is one of our first campaigns.
Warning! Dylan is back at work following time off with a mental illness. Just leave him alone. You don't know what he'll do. He could get upset, be all weird. He might be dangerous.
Dylan, how you feeling, mate?
Yeah, I'm okay, thanks. Feeling much better.
Glad to be back.
Don't be afraid to talk about mental health. Find out how at timetochange.wales.org.uk.
For too long our society has not taken mental health seriously. Indeed, it has scorned or belittled those who have had mental health problems. Changing Faces and Time to Change tackles those erroneous beliefs head on. But our attitudes towards mental health are even deeper and more damaging than the casual use of hurtful language, for example. We simply as a society do not value the things that build good mental health. Leisure time with friends, safe and cheap access to sports and recreation facilities, reasonably priced arts provision, a proper balance between work and rest and family, and most saliently of all, proper, well-funded provision for early intervention and support in our National Health Service. Promoting positive mental health in children alone has been estimated to have benefits of around £75,000 for that individual over their lifetime, in terms of work not lost, in terms of cost, opportunities and so forth. So let's dispel a few myths to begin with. Mental ill health is not a problem confined to weak or inadequate individuals who can't hack modern life. It's not confined to one class of person, or the unemployed, or those addicted to drugs and alcohol. It's not a sign of danger to you or your loved ones. It is, in fact, the most common health issue. The World Health Organization states that 20% of the overall burden of disease, at 20% of the overall burden of disease, mental health outstrips any other single health problem. That means that mental health is a bigger problem, if you could call it a problem, a bigger challenge, if you like, than cardiovascular disease or even cancer.
I'd like to say how inspirational Di Starkey, Paula, and people like her are to people with mental health illnesses. And I'd like you to put your arms together for these people. I'd also like to share something with you today. Basically, 60 years ago, when I was 10, I visited my grandmother in a secure unit in the mental health in Bridgend. For a young child going to a place like that, it was very difficult. It was unusual, because not only was my grandmother, who was 60 at that time, but there were other people there. There were even children in that unit. And I won't go into what happened in that particular time, but I think it was not talked about at home. It wasn't talked out in the street that you had someone with a mental health illness. As I grew up, I found out later that my grandmother was under the menopause. And at the time, people didn't understand a lot of things, like they don't today, about certain mental illnesses, how they come about. My grandmother never came out of that institution because they tried a new drug on her and she never recovered. Thank God today that has changed. It hasn't changed enough because people's attitudes to mental health hasn't changed, but at least that system has.
Well, basically, when we set up the film, we had three overall sort of overarching goals. And the first goal was to find ordinary people who were willing to talk about their experience of mental health and the effects of stigma. The second goal we had then was to find out how they coped with whatever mental health condition it was that they had, you know. And then, of course, then we wanted to see that how they contributed, basically, positively in some way or another to their community, whether that's through work, you know, whether they got a hobby or they got some sort of gift they could share with the world, like Di over there, superb singer-songwriter, you know. And thank you very much, Di, for coming this morning. And Di's also in the film as well. So there we go. Now the film is cut into 3 segments, roughly 20 minutes apiece. So there's an opportunity now to have a break in between, have a cup of tea, a cup of coffee or whatever, you know, and we'll just go from there. But like I say, I'd like to thank, you know, the people who were brave enough to come in to our studio and share their experiences with us, who are willing to be on camera, and by doing so, challenge the stigma. Later on today, the film that we have will be prepared and will go up on our internet channel, so people then will be able to see it online if they want to. And as an organisation, we do have a very, very big reach across the internet, so we hope then that'll go some way then, like to working with the goals of Time to Change Wales and our own project, Changing Faces, you know, to remove some of the stigma of mental health.
My parents didn't really know what to do. I think they found it quite hard.
It was only then was I diagnosed with a possible diagnosis of schizophrenia.
The more I realised how things affected me and how I reacted to them.
Hi, my name is Mark Bridgman. I'm a member of the team at Changing Faces. Basically, our project is all about removing the stigmas associated with mental health. So in a few moments you're going to see a few people
and realise that we're all individual. We're all just single people. Every one of us different, every personality different. We will all experience different things in our lives. Be an individual, be yourself, be happy, be safe.
Well, we hope you enjoyed our presentation, Changing Faces. Hopefully today you'll have seen people who look just like you and me, seem like normal people that we all bump into in the street, and they've all been brave enough to share their experience of a mental health condition with us. We hope it goes some way to removing the stigma associated with mental health, because when it's all said and done, nobody's any different.
Did you enjoy that? Yeah, it was good, wasn't it? Okay, fortunately we've caught up now, so we've got about 5-7 minutes worth of questions.
The film being distributed anyway?
Yes.
What we planning to do is actually put it online. We've got a very extensive website. Amongst some of the things that we tend to do, we also run an online newspaper, and that's called llanelli.com or Yours Llanelli. On average, we get 1.5 million to 2 million hits a month for that one. So it's going to be publicised very, very heavily there. As well as that, we've got a number of different Facebook groups for the different projects we manage. Each Facebook group has got anything, say, between 2,000 and 5,000 regular sort of members in there. Across them all, there's 20,000 people.
I've got a question. Perhaps if somebody now approached you, recognising that they had some sort of problem or difficulty related to what we've seen today, how would you deal with it? Would you, where would you go? I'm going to come with you. I've got a problem. I've seen the film. I'm sure at the end of the film there will be some sort of signpost. But how do you feel about dealing with those clients? Do you feel that you would be better served to deal with them following today? Yes? No? I see nods. So I'm really what I'm trying to get out of you. Was today worthwhile to you? One more thing. Can you make sure that you fill in the questionnaire? It is important to us. Thank you all for attending, for participating. Hope you enjoyed. And thank you once again. Thank you.